Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So I don't do that many how-to videos, but today, since I told you guys we were going to be working on the LS motor, I guess this will kind of be a how to install a camshaft into an LS. To help is going to be my buddy Kyle, and he's actually coming over soon. But before he comes over, and before you can even get to the cam, you have to essentially take all of this stuff off. I'm going to take the intake off, the heads, the water pump, the power steering pump, expose the timing cover, which is pretty small, and the only thing I can't get off is the crank pulley itself. So Kyle is actually bringing over his crank puller, and once we get that off, everything will be able to come off. We can access the cam, pull the old cam, put the new cam in, time it, and put it back together. For the cam, I have a Comp Cam Extreme Energy. I have the specs for it here. I just got to read it off my phone. The Comp Cam's Extreme Energy XFI. It's the specs are 218 and 218 for duration, 605, 590 lift, and 114 lobe separation. So this should be a pretty decent cam for just overall performance. I picked it up for $100 used. I also, when you go with a cam like this, especially a cam that has like 605 lift, you're going to want to pair it with the proper spring. I have these PSI 1511s. These are good for 625 lift. Now, for most people that want to do this, you want to kind of go with a dual spring. This is a single spring. And the benefit of the dual spring over this is if this spring breaks, right, I'm dropping a valve, and the valve's getting bent, the motor's getting destroyed. But on a dual spring setup, if one of the springs breaks, it's really going to save you. That secondary spring is going to prevent that valve from being dropped. And I know friends personally who have thought, oh man, I just have a misfire in my engine. Well, let me take it apart and see what's going on. And either the inner spring had broke or the outer spring had broke, and the opposite spring is saving that valve from falling into the motor. So this isn't, the most ideal option, but keep in mind we're building a budget car. So these springs were awesome. They were an awesome deal. I paid $40 for them. I got them from Randy Yeager in something Wisconsin, something Locks. I don't know where that is, but thank you, Randy. And this I got literally like 3 miles up the street. This guy lived in a neighborhood that one of my father-in-law's coworkers lives in. So this was awesome. He was asking $200. I pled my case with him. I said, hey, listen, I'm not trying to lowball you, but I'm building a budget car. Would you take $100? He said, you know what? Sure, come and get it. And that's how that went. So $140. I have a budget cam setup for the 4.8. So I'm going to go ahead and start tearing this stuff apart now. You can kind of watch as I go through. I'm going to speed up the video. So I'm not sponsored or anything like that by Milwaukee, but let me tell you, this M18 half-inch impact is a life changer. This thing is incredible. So right now I have it on like all out balls to the wall mode, and I'm going to pull this crank bolt. Now these things are torqued down to like 150, give or take 20, foot-pounds of torque. And this thing will most likely just pull it right off, which is incredible. Dude, I'm telling you, this thing is so freaking sick. So Kyle's here. We got the timing cover off, and actually something I just learned is that this year LS does not have a cam chain tensioner, and this thing is pretty shot. So budget builds are us. We're gonna just risk it for the biscuit here. But yeah, Kyle can kind of go over, you know, actually, you know, like I said, I hadn't done an LS cam before, so I wasn't sure everything what was involved. I had no idea that I was going to have to, you know, pull the pickup tube off here and drop the pan, or I would have just done it before he got here. But yeah, he can tell you more in detail what we're going to do. And
main thing is, when you do a cam, you got to keep your eyes closed. Do not look at the cam bearings, because you will want to replace it.
Yeah. So yeah, one thing to note, this is like compared to my Gen 4 5.3 over there, you can see a difference. This is a 3-bolt cam, and that's a single bolt. And just make sure if you're going to swap your cam, you get the right one. I scared Kyle, and I had mentioned that there was only one bolt, you know, because there's only one physical bolt in my new cam. And he's like, what do you mean there's only one bolt? So yeah, just make sure you have that. Or if you are going to switch to a single bolt, just make sure you have the right cam gear for it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start tearing this thing apart. And anytime there's some good information,
Jonathan will tell you everything.
Kyle will tell me, and I'll tell you. Kyle's a little slightly camera shy.
Yeah, something like that.
But it's all right.
Real quick.
So here's the stock cam out of this bad boy. Definitely a little war. See some scoring on the cam journals. This is why Kyle was saying you definitely want to keep your eyes closed. These cam bearings are a little wore out.
Here.
There's the cam journal. You can see, yeah, there you go. You can see the material's gone. But this is a budget build. We don't have time for that. You always want to properly lube the shaft before you insert it.
Just like that. Just look at the camera, make it weird.
For someone who's camera shy, you're awkwardly good at this. What kind of videos do you normally?
Well, I mean, this isn't my normal style video. But sometimes I gotta try some new stuff.
Slowly?
Slowly, just...
So we got the new cam in. It's pretty easy. What he's doing now is putting back in the retainer plate, which just holds the cam in place. And we're going to rotate the crankshaft over and show you what we're doing here. And this is how you time it. Luckily, the sprocket only goes on one way because there's a little, I don't know if you want to call it a detent or...
Just a pin.
Yeah, it's a alignment dowel, and that's what lines up the camshaft pulley. And then there's a dot on here and a dot on the pulley, and you line them up, and that's where you put the chain on. All right, so now what we're doing is pretty much timing it. So we have this dot here that you can see on top of the crank sprocket, and this dot here on the cam gear. It's crazy there's that much play in the... Nice. And just like that.
Once we bolt it down, we can rock it. It has so much slop, so.
All right, we're all timed up. So you can see here, this dot here is lined up with the dot there. And that is it. That is actually extremely simple. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Yeah, so now I know how to do this one. I'll do my 5.3 probably myself. And that one will be pretty easy. See the difference though here, like there is no cam chain tensioner, but here there is, and that's what I'm used to seeing. That's crazy. So now I'm just gonna put some of this stuff back together, and that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Kyle from Knights Automotive, ladies and gentlemen. Star of the show.
Yeah, we'll go that far.
Well, thanks again for watching, guys. Like I said, I don't do how-to videos, but I told you we were going to be doing this soon, and now all I have to do is swap the springs out. This is pretty simple. You can get one of these kits here at, hold on, let me show you. You can like rent one of these valve spring compressor tools at AutoZone or anything like that. It's pretty simple. Clamp it on the head like a C-clamp, compress it, pull the keepers out of the valve stems, and then release it, swap the spring, and do that 16 times. Tedious, but needs to be done. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it, and see you guys next time. Peace.